Professor Wergely's here. We are on lecture number 30. We're talking about closures. We're going to write some notes down to make sure you get a good grade on the exam when you're asked about closures. Now, in our cow closure, you're going to note that moo refers to a local variable called name. Okay, I have moo here, and I'm trying to reference name inside of moo. Remember, when we call cow, it returns moo. But we're not just getting the function moo. We're also getting the variable name because it's in a closure. Otherwise, the code below would be equivalent to moo. Let's say we create another variable, animal sound, 2, which is equal to an anonymous function. This function does a console log that tries to print out name plus says moo. This is a function expression, so it needs a semicolon. We're going to print out the second function, and we're going to call the second function. If I upload the code, go back to the browser, refresh the page, you'll see the first one says Bertha says moo, but the second one just says undefined says moo, because name is not accessible here. So if cow were the same as animal sound 2, so if animal sound 1 was the same as animal sound 2, I would just get the function moo, and all it would do would be print out undefined says moo. But when we print out moo, it says Bertha says moo. Okay, so in this example, I get both the variable inside the closure and the method inside the closure. And the only reason this happens is because I have an inner function. I have a nested function. Whenever you nest a function, the outer function is an object or a class, and everything in this block is returned. So let's talk about the difference between animal sound and animal sound 2. The difference is that moo is defined within cow. Okay, so I have an inner function called moo, and it's defined within cow. In JavaScript, a function defined within inside another function creates a closure. So an inner function creates a closure, or a nested function creates a closure, which is essentially a function within another function. For an exam, you're going to want to know what a closure means. A closure means that we don't just return moo, we also get name and any other variables in that scope, which makes a closure very powerful. Let's say you want to have a variable that's private. You only want moo to be able to access that variable, but at the same time, you want to be able to call that from anywhere. So I can create a closure that creates a private variable that's only accessible by moo, but moo can be called anywhere. But the variable name cannot be accessible anywhere. Since cow returns moo, moo is accessible anywhere, which is what we saw here. When I call animal sound, I'm calling cow, which executes moo and includes the name Bertha. But I'm not able to access name anywhere else. So it's almost like a private variable. Okay, there's a lot going on here. I really recommend you go back, read the W3 Schools article, because it explains very well and why you'd want a closure. And then the Mozilla documentation also has good examples of what a closure is, what lexical scoping is, what are the practical uses of closures, and they're good articles to read to make sure you understand exactly what's going on. Because I can promise you, you're going to see this on the exam, and the exam is coming up, so you want to make sure you understand what's going on here. I have a closure, and with a closure, even though I only return the function here, everything is returned because it's going to return everything in this scope. And that's the purpose of closure, to create a private variable and have a function access that variable. The function is accessible anywhere, but the variable is only accessible in this scope. So I can have a private variable with a public function, and that's the purpose of a closure. Okay, we talk about this in object-oriented programming as well, and we use this in web development frequently. Okay, I have more examples to show. We're not done with lecture number 30. We're going to keep going. I'm going to show you some cool plugins that you can use, and we're still going to hack W3 Schools. So stick with Professor Wergeles, and we'll see you in the next video.